Now, we are starting this beautiful episode once again, and this is the. Say it. What is it?
This is the third episode.
Yeah, this is the
We're
third.
handling inclusive education.
Yeah, inclusive education.
Yeah.
Or education inclusivity.
Yeah.
Yes. And today we're talking about how schools, how education institutions should actually be more inclusive in terms of their education system, more especially as far as people with disability are concerned. Yeah. Which kind of people are we looking at specifically?
We are looking at people that are deaf, people with the speech impairment, people that have visual impairment, people with all those different sort of disability that we know.
So one thing that I did not know.
Yeah.
What do you think blind people see? A, darkness. B, white. C, blurry. D, nothing.
Nothing.
How does nothing look like?
I can't even imagine.
I know. So, and that is the thing. So I discovered, I used to think that blind people used to see darkness or black. But then I was like, they don't even know what black is.
That's what I thought.
Exactly. So more especially for people who are born without what is it? Without a born blind, there are chances that they've never known what a color is or something like that.
Yeah.
But you have to get that person through an education to be able to be okay. So I went to Gulu. There's an institution called Autism House. So when I arrived there, I met people. Well, everyone was on their computer, because an innovation
They
space.
rely on the computer.
I didn't know. So everyone was on the computer. They are busy programming. They're building apps, building websites, building a couple of things I had no idea.
So I can't even get
exactly. So I stood there, and this one guy was having a conversation with me. He was telling me what he was building. I think he was building something responding to, like, I think education or something. There was an application he was trying to build. I can't really remember. It was like way back. And this guy was trying to tell me all these amazing things he's doing. And beyond that, I was like, wow, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Only to understand later when we had a conversation with the boss, and she was like, you know that all those guys you were talking to behind, they're all blind. They were like, no, you're joking. And they're like, yes, they're all blind.
Like going
So
back
all of them use a system in the computer called JAWS. So JAWS literally, like, they put on headsets and whatever they tap, JAWS talks to them.
Oh.
So, and they use that amount of knowledge to be able to do that. And they use their phones, they have iPhones, they go on social media, they post, they do everything. And I'm like, wow, this is extremely interesting. As much as this is the real definition of disability is not inability. So there is actually frameworks right now that are existing that can allow somebody to be able to do that. But sometimes it takes a very informed community to accept that kind of situation. Yeah. Now we are in the refugee camp, where it can be very dangerous sometimes to be able to get this. Here we had a conversation between a head teacher and one boy. There's a boy who he has speech impairment. So it has been a struggle for the boy and for the parents to the boy and for the teacher as well. Because technically in that school there is no, as you said it before in the previous episode, there are no existing schools easily, apart from one that he mentioned, I think, that are there intentionally to be able to get to train some of these children and what it means to be inclusive. So when you listen to the conversation of the father, The biggest difficulty the father was facing is how to communicate instructions to this young man.
Yes.
Now, the father has no experience with dealing with, yeah, with a deaf child.
Because there are non-institutions that actually trains them on how to
Exactly.
handle their children.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, this goes down to parenthood. For him, he never, because it's the only child of his that is deaf.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the other kids are normal. And according to, I think, to the hospital that he went, he thought that it was just a mere wound or something in the ears and the kid is going to get back to listening. The kid didn't get back to listen. The kid is now 6 years. So the kid can talk, can't listen. And he struggles so much to be able to push instructions to this young man. And I see the struggle of a parent. Then that pushes me to think about the struggle of a school.
Exactly.
So it was not easy for this head teacher.
Even beyond the school, the struggle of that very child.
Exactly.
Trying to communicate to the parents, but it's like the parents are not understanding. Even also, again, to the school, trying to communicate to the fellow pupils, and or maybe the fellows, but they couldn't really understand what the child was saying.
Exactly.
And that really caused a lot of emotional, I don't know what to even say.
So I don't know, how should communities and education institutions be prepared for such kind of instances?
Okay, for me, according to my suggestion, I would rather say there has to be specific school for such type of disability, because literally it's really very hard. Like even you try to imagine and put yourself in the shoes of that parent of that child who struggles with the child, even when the child loves him so much and will really want to go with him wherever he's going, and the communication becomes a challenge.
Exactly.
So there really has to be that kind of specific school to those children, and even besides that, those schools should be able to even at least come and even talk to the parents, at least give them some basics on how they can really able to communicate with their children, how they can able to relate to their children, at least so that those children will really feel they are part of us, they have been loved, and they're also part of their other siblings.
That's true.
In addition to this, there is one of the mother who is having a child who is also not hearing well at home. So she was telling me it is even very hard to talk to the child. And UNHR went up to home and picked the child to be brought to opposite to school here, because there they have such kind of children with disabilities where they are teaching those ones who cannot see, those ones who cannot hear, and those ones who cannot talk. So what she has to do is to move and visit the child, and then she was telling me how she picked up now that she can maybe communicate to the child is whenever she comes to the school, she will be seeing how they are communicating with their colleagues in the school, and then well, something that she understands, and then she will be able to cope up with. So it will be better if church institutions for teaching those ones who maybe deaf, those ones who cannot speak, are taken to the settlement, and then it will be easy where the parents of the children will also be included in the training. Because you find out that if my child will be picked and taken to those schools, coming back home, I will still face some difficulties in talking to the children. Because as a mother also, or as the parents, you have some responsibilities. There are other things that you're supposed to teach these children at home. They don't get the knowledge in the school. So it will be very hard for them to learn that kind of things.
That is very true. So I think I can see the struggle of a parent. I can see the struggle of the school. It's like an entire thing within the community. Our community is not built up to be able to welcome people with disabilities. It's looked at as I don't know, a bad omen or what. Because now your child having that kind of disability, most parents are not ready for that. And I can see so many parents would be like, okay, you go and train yourself. You as the parent, go train yourself to learn something, then you can be able to handle a way or how to communicate with your child. But then we sit down, are there even schools right now that are teaching parents how to do that? Yes.
Actually, when we look on ground, there are no schools that are for the parents in particular.
Mm.
Like what is happening in the settlement, if they will identify such kind of people, they pick the child only and then they take to those specific schools, but not for the parents.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, the amusing thing now to me is like now when it comes to the refugee settlement, on the structure of the leadership, we have what we call the secretary for patients or secretary for persons of special need. And I really don't know what their roles are. And because for me, I could take this to be one of their roles so that they're able to advocate for schools for persons with special need or maybe the deaf people and so on. But since we came to the camp in 2016 up to now, we don't see something of that kind. Yet we have a system that is in place that could be able to advocate for this, even beyond them being able to advocate for this. Like one question you ask yourself is, the people who sat down and said there has to be this position, what was in their mind? That literally, like you as a Romeo, you have been put to be the secretary for patients. You actually don't know your role. Actually, there's nothing that they can tell you, okay, yes, today is the orientation day. Now this A, B, C, D are going to be your roles. Literally, it doesn't come out clearly. So what probable can we do and able to make sure that the positions that we're having, even in the RWC structure, are not just positions. Those are probable one of the active officers that can be able to advocate for their fellows.
That is very true. Yeah. I mean, I'm happy that you mentioned that. Meaning, the whole thing goes down to structures. And I think this is a conversation that Reliable is going to have after here. We said we are discovering gaps. In this conversation, we are discovering gaps. Exactly. And what other actions we are going to take with that. And we shall be having a follow-up later, I think, with the podcast as well, on what has been happening with some of those conversations.